Jon and Tom stand tall, discussing corruption, answering the call. Osceola's whispers, the truth we unveil. With each podcast episode, we set sail. Unsanctioned voices, we won't be ignored. Digging through lies, we strike a chord. Unsanctioned truth, we're here for the fight. Jon and Tom shining through the night. With every debate, we're raising the stakes, taking down villains for justice's sake. Politicians trembling, they know we're awake. With facts on our side, we're here to shake. From local elections to making it clear, together we rise, let's spread the fear. Shining the light, the darkness won't last. In Osceola's depths, we're breaking the cast. Unsanctioned truth, we're here for the fight. Jon and Tom shining through the night. With every debate, we're raising the stakes, taking down villains for justice's sake. Shining the light, the darkness won't last. In Osceola's depths, we're breaking the cast. Unsanctioned truth, we're here for the fight. Jon and Tom shining through the night. With every debate, we're raising the stakes, taking down villains for justice's sake. So tune in each week, don't miss the show. Jon and Tom will help you know.
You can get some.
A 6-week abortion ban, or do you want access to reproductive health care? That's going to be what the issue is on the ballot. And then I say consistently across the country, don't count Florida out. We are here on the ground fighting, carrying this message, making sure that people across the nation understands that Florida and our Floridians are hungry for change, and are certainly going to be putting in the work to make sure that November we get access to reproductive health care back into our Constitution, and making sure that we are winning seats up and down the ballot, holding Rick Scott, who would have also signed that 6-week abortion ban if he was still governor, and Donald Trump, who wants to take a national abortion ban to Washington, D.C. That is a clear choice on the November ballot here in Florida. Protect reproductive health, protect democracy, send Rick Scott packing, and make sure that we reelect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in November of 24. People are going to have to decide in the next 2 years before the midterms, are they happy or do they have buyer's remorse? And Democrats are going to have to be here saying, look, there's a better way to lead. We told you all that the price of eggs and the price of milk have not gone down in 2 years. He's lied to you. But we have the solutions to make your life better, to make sure that the number one issue for Democrats is the economy, making sure we put people back to work, good paying jobs, and give them those opportunities to be successful in the American economy.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
chairman to a mayor and our vice chair to a vice mayor. I know we kind of didn't go anywhere. We talked a little bit. We were going to get back and bring it back. I still think it's a good idea for this board to just name change those positions just from a PR standpoint when it comes to emergency services. And also with as international as we are as a community now. And Commissioner Grieve, I know you've had this experience, I'm sure, with some of your international travels. Mm-hmm. The title of mayor goes a much further away than commissioner does.
Yeah.
And so I'd really like for us to, county manager, county attorney, I don't know if you just need a head nod from us or what you need to make that word change.
Sure. I think we can do something like that. I would suggest doing it by resolution, which would be a change to the admin code, because we do have a lot of ordinances that do make reference to chair. So I'm thinking it'd be more like a ceremonial type title.
Exactly.
So it'd be like if something has to go by the ordinance or by a signature that requires a chair signature, it would still say chair, but you could still use mayor kind of interchangeably. So something along those lines, if that's what the board.
Yeah, I think that I know that would suffice for me.
No, that'll work, and you're 100% spot on.
And do we need to bring that back to the next resolution? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank y'all for that. And then just also wanted to highlight on Commissioner James' comments about Multicult today here. I always love going because it is so exciting to see our team so excited to share where they come from. And their background and their food. And I will say I did miss the Soul Train line this year. I was kind of upset that did not happen, even though there were some line dances and some other dances that broke out. But always a great event, and just love seeing our team so excited just to share their culture with us.
Such important work going down on the Osceola
Such
County
important
Commission.
work. My God, this is like brain surgery happening right now, right? They're like saving lives. I missed the Soul Train coming in. Really disappointed there was no Soul Train.
He's such a cringy character, I swear. I can't
this
believe he
guy-
got reelected.
This guy, I don't know. Can you imagine what kind of parents that Kristen Arrington had to have to let her parents to allow her to date Brandon Arrington? I mean, it says everything about those two families. They're like the Addams families and the Munsters. If it was a really, really dark show, combining.
He said that he missed multicultural night.
Man,
This is the guy who doesn't want you to speak Spanish.
You and I were going to the same exact place. I was about to say the guy who loves multiculturalism is the guy that said that he hated people speaking Spanish, or the guy that kicked somebody out for speaking Spanish, or whatever it was on that meeting. Somebody came up, spoke in their native language, and he started berating them and told them that there's a national language, learn to speak English, blah, 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 blah. Wow. And I think that he just learned from that. That's all. That's all that was. He talked about PR, but he was talking about PR in the wrong thing. The vice mayor name change is not PR. It's a power grab by two people. They want to improve their outlook, right? As things get more and more difficult for them, they want to improve their outlook. Changing the name to mayor has a powerful influence on people, right? And people become even more intimidated. People become even more impressed by a title, not knowing that he's a failed actor, So I would strongly suggest that the citizens get out there and they fight against this. Anything for the county commission to, has anyone ever seen the county commission of Osceola County come back and say, you know what, I think that we're going to reduce the amount of reach that we have. We're going to reduce the amount of cost. We're going to reduce your taxes. If you think that over the entire lifetime of Osceola County and Orange County and any county in the United States, that they haven't had the opportunity to do that, you're wrong. They choose not to because they're all about building power. Osceola County is so flush with cash, they don't know what to do with it. That's why they're erecting blasphemous statues, 50-foot tall statues celebrating their LGBTQ paganism and heathenry. That's what they're doing. They would if they didn't have the money, they wouldn't be doing things like that. They're looking to spend that money. Okay. So these are two horrendous characters. And Refried Nikki. Yeah. Let's talk about Refried Nikki. Of course, she thought that, oh man, we're gonna win the election on abortion.
Yeah.
People love killing babies. We're going to win the election on abortion. And it ended up not being the case. People don't think that that's an issue that they want to fight over. The American people are not radicals when it comes to abortion. And she learned that in two ways. Number one, the amendment failed. And number two, they lost their asses when it came to the elections in Florida. Plenty of reasons. And now
it's
she's
all
saying
about the economy now,
now she's saying, oh, we're going to come back in 2 years. They don't even know. So listen, they don't even know what's going to be the situation in 2 years, right? Who cares if the price of eggs doesn't go down if you're making 10 times the amount of money then, right? In 2 years, if the price of eggs is the same, but I'm making 5 times the amount of money that I'm making today, I don't care what the price of eggs is anymore. This is somebody who's telling you that their platform is only based on words, right? That's it. It's just placed on words. I'm saying words because it's garbled noise, okay? They don't have anything, okay? They don't have anything. They don't have anything. They don't have a platform. They don't have ideas for the future. They don't have a vision for the future of Florida. They have no plan. So words is all they got, made up crap. And they're going to say in the future, we're going to go in the future. And I'm going to say in the future, we're going to talk about the economy. They have no idea what the economy is going to look like, but that's what their plan is already. Come on. I love Nikki Fried. I really do. I think she's the best Democrat chairman in the world. Yeah. The only reason that we have any Democrats surviving today is because the GOP is not great. Yeah. And if the Republican Party of Florida were better, then they would be snuffed out, electorally, of course. Yeah. Unless you're Andrew Gillum and you snuff your own
in their mind, though, in the RPOF's mind, though, they've already hit that last nail in the coffin, but it's not true. They're constantly giving them a window, an opening to come back. And with the antics that they're perpetrating right now that we're going to talk about on this show. They are not just... they go beyond that. They are architecting the plans for Republicans to lose seats. Okay? They're negotiating seats away. They're negotiating. So you imagine, you have a Republican group of people that are fighting hard to make those elections happen, to win elections, to fight for their candidates. They go out there and they don't know. They have no idea that the rug is pulled out from beneath them before they even got onto the rug, because the GOP is architecting, they're manufacturing a loss so that they can have a seat somewhere else, and so on and so forth. Or they're preventing someone good from becoming the candidate so that they can give it to their friend who's in the program already, So it's really dirty business. It's a really, run by a not so great people, and people without integrity, and people without just people without integrity is the bottom line, And I don't think that's necessarily just the chairman of the RPOF, because I like I've said before, which we're going to talk about later in detail, but I don't think that it's all being manufactured just from that one office. No. Yeah. But Nikki Fried, please stay. Don't ever retire. She said she's staying, John. She said she's staying.
I know she's staying.
Not going anywhere.
No, she's going to be the party of one, like the Army's old slogan, Army of One. She's going to be a party of one at some point because everybody else is abandoning the Democrat Party. Yeah. But I love you. Stay. Never change. I'm going to write that. I wish I could go back to your high school yearbook and write never change. That's what everybody writes in your yearbook, right? So don't change, Nikki Fried. We love you just the way you are on the Republican side.
Stick around.
Well, welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned Florida. And this is episode 36. Let me go through the headlines here. The things that we're going to talk about today. Refried Nikki, we visited that. Brandon's ego begs for more air. You would never think that Brandon can handle any more air in that head of his. Gaetz withdraws and Trump sends Bondi up. Winter Haven drops fluoride from its water. St. Pete Commish shows off his tech savviness. What an interesting story that is. Former Senator Frank Artiles down there in South Florida goes to jail. War of Elephants heats up. We just broached that subject a minute ago. Kissimmee Mayor says she can bridge the trust gap. Jon and Tom told you so. Special segment for that. We need to make graphics and everything on that one. All this, St. Cloud gets one response to their. It's like, being like on what are those dating apps? Bumble. What is the other one? Something, right? What's the one where you for hookups? Tom? It's a famous name. Tinder. Oh, that's the one I was thinking, right? Where you swipe left or right or whatever. Yeah. Apparently, everybody swipe which way is bad, left or right. I don't know. Everybody's swiping the wrong way for St. Cloud project. Exactly. They're like, nope, not St. Cloud. So they put out a proposal for help developing a part of downtown, and they got one response, and probably not great. So. That, all this, and more on this episode 36 of Unsanctioned Florida. We're going to do a quick prayer, and then we're going to get right down to the show. We got a hard deadline here, so we're going to try to do it quick. Lord, we are eternally grateful to you for the opportunity to reach people through this medium. We are grateful for this great state and for the leadership in this state, which has gotten positive results here. We're grateful for the elections that we've seen. It tells you that the American people are thirsty for you, that they're thirsty for freedom, that they're thirsty for liberty, they're thirsty for justice and truth. And man, we truly are appreciative of that. They answered the call to wake up and to take part and do their civic duty in a biblical way. And we are truly grateful for all of those things. We pray that they continue to be involved and that we continue to be able to reach people through this show and talk about the things that are going on in our state and our country all the time in our local communities. We surrender our lives to you and we submit to your will always. We know that you're in charge, and we're happy to do what we can to make sure that our country is the best country it can be and state. In your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right,
what do we got? Let's do it.
So strange the way this week went down, Jon, and so much news hitting so fast, especially over this Matt Gaetz AG pick. Matt Gaetz withdrew his name from consideration. We could talk a little bit about why we think this happened. People are saying that it has to do with some information that was going to come out. I don't know if there's a bigger plan at play here or what, and we'll get to what happened after that. But just real quick, do you have any thoughts, Jon, on why Matt Gaetz might have withdrew his name?
So I think it was an all-above situation. I saw an interview with Matt Gaetz, and I can't remember who was the host. I can't remember what podcast it was, but he interviewed. Oh, it was Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk asked him all these questions that everybody wants to know. Why did you drop out? Did you think? What was the deal? Who in the swamp is resisting you? All these questions that are interesting to the normal people, right? And he answered them all very openly, like the way that he does. And the bottom line is he's ready to get out. He thinks that 8 years is enough to be in Congress, which we all agree with him, right? That's enough time to be in Congress. He's stepping away so that he can honor what he has been saying at that time. He did not make the AG role. He decided to leave because he did not want it to become a distraction from all the incredible things that are happening with the Trump administration. And it kind of has, right? That one story has sucked all the air out of the room. Yeah. Everybody was holding their breath, seeing if he was going to win this seat, seeing if he was not going to win this seat. But the great representative, the great patriot congressman from Florida decided that he's going to move on to another role. So he's always going to be involved. He is not going to take his seat because he was duly elected for the next Congress, right, which would be in January, placed. He decided that he was not. He resigned from the House for the DOJ, and he's not going to take the position back in January either. So he is leaving the House. He's leaving Congress entirely. He has not disclosed what he's going to do next. But I think that what he plans on, number one, I would love to see him in the Senate. I think that he doesn't, and he didn't mention that. He didn't hint towards it. But man, that would be great if he came back as the senator from Florida. Him and Byron Donalds are my two favorite guys in Florida right now. Yeah. And there's a lot of good picks, but him and Donalds have proven to be worthy of. I'd love to see Corey Mills there actually too. That would be another good one. but I don't think that's going to happen here, Matt. I don't know. So we're all gonna. It's a mystery. He's not telling anybody what's going to happen. But I think it was a brave choice. He is a true patriot. He's a true great American because he's leaving Congress the way we said. Walk away. Yeah. Don't try to control it. Walk away. When it's time to walk away, walk away. And he did. He won his election, and then he's walking away with his held high. And he's a great guy, and I think he's phenomenal. All the stuff that's going to come out is not. The DOJ did an investigation for 3 years into the allegations. 3-year-long investigation, a Biden administration investigation. If they could have pressed charges for anything, they would have pressed charges. The ethics committee in the House had nothing more than the DOJ. It was a concerted effort to get rid of the guy who got rid of McCarthy for us. And that is exactly what that's all about. These are salacious accusations, and he denies them completely. And if the DOJ had an ounce, look what they did to Trump. You don't think that they wanted to do that to Matt Gaetz? But they couldn't. They wouldn't pass muster. So there's nothing special that's going to come out for Matt Gaetz, against Matt Gaetz, or nothing in the future. This is just, him being a good guy, the one that we know that he is.
Do you think that maybe, just maybe, we could see him run for governor?
I think absolutely maybe that he can run for governor. I think that that's a possibility. But most importantly, I think that seat is going to be a very contentious seat. There's a lot of swampy people who want it. They want to take control. The governor is such a big position, right? It's such a powerful position that we could see it with DeSantis, right? DeSantis has, we've said it here, right? We don't hate DeSantis on this show, right? A lot of people who are like hardcore Trump people hate DeSantis and whatever. We don't hate DeSantis. But at the same time, we do acknowledge the mistakes that DeSantis has made. Getting involved with the swamp was one of them. He didn't need to. He could have stayed clean. All right. He was not going to win the presidency. I don't care what billionaire was going to come get him. That was never going to happen. That was a pipe dream of the first order. That was never going to happen under any circumstance. If I do understand the strategic note here, if Trump went to jail for one of these crimes, if Biden had made a political prisoner out of Trump, maybe he would have been the guy that won the primary. So I guess he had to do it in his mind. Okay. He didn't have to, and he probably shouldn't have. But staying away from the swamp in Florida, if he had not done that, he would have been able to avoid the swamp in Florida, and that would have been better suited for him, and he would win whatever he ran for next, right? With the heartbeat of Florida behind him. And the problem is that you make deal for money. And now he got into bed with people like Fred Hawkins and the Osceola establishment. Those establishments are throughout Florida, right? Every county has its own establishment, the way that Osceola does. And I don't know how close he is to all the establishments throughout the state, but he's very close to the establishment here in Osceola County. And so he lost a lot from that. Yeah. The people who now need to save their asses because they got into bed with DeSantis against Trump need to retain power, right? They need to keep the game going. The governor's seat in 2 years, let's say it was Matt Gaetz. I don't think that he's going to go to bed with the same people. No. And so that creates they have to get rid of Matt Gaetz. They can't allow Matt Gaetz to win. It's in the same position as we are, as we find ourselves locally, where you have the swamp having to win. So they're throwing nuclear bombs, right, in order to make sure that they retain power. It's going to be a very interesting governor's race. I'm looking to get involved however I can. I'm going to fight super hard to get a good governor that I can believe in, that I know has the right agenda.
Absolutely. All right, Jon. So another Florida name up for AG now, or President Trump's cabinet.
Pam Bondi. Yeah,
Pam Bondi. And we have a little video when the announcement was made. So here it is.
A lot happening during this show. Just announced, the president-elect has selected Pam Bondi as the next Attorney General of the United States. I'll read from this announcement from the President-elect. I'm proud to announce former Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Pam Bondi, as our next Attorney General of the United States. Pam was a prosecutor for nearly 20 years, where she was very tough on violent criminals and made the streets safe for Florida families. Then, as Florida's first female Attorney General, She worked to stop the trafficking of deadly drugs and reduce the tragedy of fentanyl overdoses deaths, which have destroyed many families in our country. She did such an incredible job that I asked her to serve as our Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission. During my first term, we saved many lives. Again, he goes on to say she's smart and tough and is America First fighter who will do a terrific job as Attorney General. Again, Pam Bondi from Florida, the next nominee for President-elect Trump, who obviously saw today that Matt Gaetz pulled his name from nomination as the votes were not there on Capitol Hill in the Senate for Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Pam Bondi, now the name that the President-elect has put forward in that position.
Now, I've seen quite a few anti-rhino Republicans here in Florida not happy with Pam Bondi. I don't know. The media, though, is not happy with Pam Bondi either. Listen to this, John.
Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent. We may not agree with her ideologically, but she actually knows how to do this job. So if anyone on the Democratic side or anyone who cared about liberty or justice was thinking, well, maybe Matt Gaetz will screw this up and that'll give us some time. No, Pam Bondi knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing about immigration. Remember, Florida is one of those states that's been very aggressive about migrants and deportation and moving people to different states and everything else like that. Florida has enacted all sorts of rules and laws to curtail students and what they can do on campuses and finding legal justifications for manipulating education money. She is a dangerous and effective pick, and that's frankly worse than what we would have got with Matt Gaetz, even with the deplorable moral background that he has.
Yeah, and I want to discuss that with a little more depth with both of you, including her record on civil rights, LGBTQ rights, and other issues that are front and center at the DOJ, and which we know were also big campaign issues this cycle.
Nah, enough of that. But anyway, you can see that the media is not happy about the Pam Bondi pick, which gives me some hope. I know that she has been a part of President Trump's cabinet before. What are your thoughts, John?
You know, I gotta say, I think Pam Bondi is an excellent pick. I'm like 100% anti-swamp. I hate the swamp. You know, I would love to, if they were walking down the road, I would look for a puddle to splash them with. I cannot stand the establishment, the swamp. I think that they ruin this country, the swamp in DC and so on. Now, Pam Bondi is not necessarily cut from that same cloth, okay? She is somebody who has the world of opportunities. She's right now, she was working for a high-powered lobbying firm. I think it might have been Ballard. I don't remember. But I remember looking her up a couple months ago, and she was currently working for a huge high-powered lobbying firm. I think that's why that some of the establishment people are okay with her. They're thinking she's in the game, right?
Right.
She's on a team, she's okay because that's how they funnel money back and forth. Then the 100% pro-Trump people are like, she was in DeSantis's cabinet, right? Yeah. She was kind of like, I don't know. So there's problems there.
And John, she was also very close with the Bush family, and she was on Team Jeb when Jeb was running for president before he got eliminated.
Well, you have to remember, right? Like, she was, but Jeb Bush was a hero in Florida. Jeb Bush would have won any race, any statewide race, if they held a race for emperor of the world in Florida prior to the 2016 primary. Jeb Bush would have won. He was a hero. Hispanics loved him, blacks loved him, whites loved him. Everybody loved him. Democrats loved him. Republicans loved him. He was an untouchable brand. He was that good at that time, right? His governorship was very successful. He did all kinds of things. In retrospect, you can say that these things may or may not have been good, but at that time they were extremely popular. So yeah, everybody supported Jeb Bush, right? I mean, everybody was a big Jeb Bush. Marco Rubio is a product of Jeb Bush, right? He came Jeb Bush birthed him. He gave him his start. So this was everything political. In fact, the fight today in politics in Florida involves Jeb Bush as is the team captain. All right. For the people who are anti-America first and whatever, that's who their God is in their mind, whether it's true or not. I'm not going to comment on that, but that's who their figurehead is, right? So, I wouldn't hold that against Pam Bondi because that was the game in town.
Right,
You know, it was
right.
like saying that you were, you know, the world champion. It's like being from New York and saying that you're a Yankees fan, you know?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. When Trump came in and after Trump's effective presidency, Pam Bondi became a Trump person. And in the primaries of this of 2020, she went with Trump,
Yeah.
right? And in 2024, she went with Trump. So she is a Trump person. Trump trusts her a lot. He's always spoken extremely highly of her. He's always liked her. You know, she is a very, from what I understand, she's an extremely good attorney. She basically fills in a lot of the gaps that Matt Gaetz might not have, which was this deep experience of being a lawyer that maybe Matt Gaetz didn't compare with her on, right?
Right.
But here's what I believe. I believe that this was the plan all along. I think that they knew. I think that Matt Gaetz, they were going to, hey, what would you want to be, Matt? AG. Well, let's count the votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you're never going to get these swamp senators. They're never going to vote for you, right? They'll die before they vote for you. They would pull a McCain on the floor, say no to Obamacare type of thing, right? They'll never vote for you. So then he, you know, probably knew that in advance. They can count votes. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to try. If we win, great. I'm going to bring the hatchet to town and that's it. But if I don't, then who are we going to put in? Oh, well, let's do Penn, right? Because the whole point is to always say no to the first person anyways during these procedures, right? So I think that maybe they never even intended for Matt Gaetz to win. They were going to make the whole world livid. And then they were going to put in Pam Bondi, who is probably going to have the same effect as Matt Gaetz, except with none of the resistance that Matt Gaetz would get.
Yeah.
Right? Or at least not all of it. And so I think maybe this was a plan. We said it here on the show. They have a plan. 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 If he doesn't make it, they got a plan. And I think that Pam Bondi, like that nutcase on MSNBC was saying, is dangerously effective for Trump. And so I wouldn't complain. I don't think that Pam Bondi is a pick in any respect. I think that she's a good pick. She's solid. She is a pro America First person. I think she has been loyal to Trump. She's very, very, very highly respected in the swamp too. I think that they're all scared of her. She has relationships. So I mean, I don't know. Let's see what she does. But I'm a Pam Bondi supporter because Matt Gaetz is not going to do it because he left the thing, right? If it were between one and the other, I'm a big Matt Gaetz guy, you know. So, but I'm not upset at all about Pam Bondi. I thought that was a super intelligent pick, and now they're going to have to confirm her easily. They can't mess with her. Right? So they shot all their ammunition against Matt Gaetz, right? And now they have nothing left for Pam Bondi.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big deal. And I think it was very smart.
We'll have to see how the swamp reacts and how the senators vote on this one. But I think
you have to remember they always think, they always think the best. They're always thinking positively, right? So they're thinking, oh, good, it's Pam. You know, Pam is very political. She's very, you know, she's savvy, Pam. They go, good, we got Pam. You know, and hopefully she puts him in jail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, John, like you said, Matt Gaetz is not going to return to his seat. He's done. But there's many contenders lining up for his seat right now. And we're going to, you know, highlight a couple of them and just talk about them real quick. First one up is going to be John Frankman. And John Frankman was a Special Forces Green Beret. Says he was forced out of the military for refusing to take the COVID shot. So he is running for Matt Gaetz' seat.
He's a good guy. I know that he's been vetted by Matt Gaetz. I think Matt Gaetz did not endorse anybody in this race because so many people got in, right? There's a lot of people that got into it. And so he didn't endorse. I think this was his guy that he was putting up against the other guy from wherever he is, Mississippi or wherever that guy was, the liberal who was running as a Democrat, the DEI guy.
Yeah, we already talked about him, so he's not going to be in this segment.
Yeah. But that guy, that unnamed piece of crap who was trying to steal a seat, right, and be a Democrat as a Republican, was not the guy that Matt Gaetz was supporting. And I think that this guy, John Frankman, was one of the first that had that support. Who else?
All right. Well, we got Keith Gross, and if you remember, Keith Gross
Everybody knows. Yep.
ran against Rick Scott in the primary this past election. He put out a video. It's a reworked video from his for his fight against Rick Scott. Just put new graphics on it and a new soundtrack, but it's the same video. But yeah, Keith Gross. I don't have an issue with Keith Gross. I don't know. What do you think, Jon?
Well, he's rich. I hope that he does. Okay, so I don't think that he ever intended to win that Senate seat against Rick Scott, right? That's like the guy. That's like the Chinese guy who stood in front of the tanks in Tiananmen Square. You know,
Right.
that was an impossible task for him. But
Think it was name recognition?
yeah, I think he was building his name recognition. He was getting into the game. He was playing serious. He was showing that he's got money. He was, building the relationships required, right? Like, so that you can meet the names and whatever and go around. So this is kind of a good head start. I mean, it's kind of this is obviously makes it very easy, but he's a good guy. I have no problem with. He is a good guy, and he is an America First guy, and he was running to the right of Rick Scott, right, in that primary, and so I mean, he can't be that bad of a guy. I don't know what his relationship was with Rick Scott now. He was calling Rick Scott like a rhino and stuff like that.
Well,
And
he was backing Rick Scott hardcore after the primary. So
right. So exactly, that's where I was going. So but I mean, it's like DeSantis. Look how DeSantis is going hard for Trump right now.
yeah.
Right, and saying that he's but at the same time, everybody can feel the tension in that relationship.
Yeah.
So it's the same. I wonder if it's the same here. So if not, then I mean maybe that's a base of support. Who else?
So we've got Michelle Salzman. She put her name out there.
Yep. So Michelle Salzman, another one. She's got a pretty famous name. All right. I think people know who Michelle Salzman is. I don't think that a lot of the voters necessarily will remember Salzman. But so I think that she's, I mean, she's a female pick. So it depends on what the female numbers are. That will make it, that's pretty interesting. You have a whole bunch of men and one woman. That's normally an advantage for the woman. Who else?
All right. So we got Dr. Joel Rudman. He is currently serving right now as a state representative.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, Jon, if you look at the comments under his post, many people are not happy with this guy. They are calling him a rhino, a swamp creature.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing. This is the short-sightedness of the GOP in Florida, right? That they continue to just completely S on the voters and the constituents and like what they're doing with the FRA and all this stuff. And what they're doing is they're making a bunch of people who are hated in the House. They're making a state legislature that is hated. That's not a great way to build the federal farm team, because now you're looking at Keith Gross, who would be a much better option, or a Frankman, who's a better option to people like you and I, who are like hardcore MAGA people or America First people. And just because he's a state representative, we would vote no. Yeah. Right. And you don't want to do that. I don't think that the GOP would want to do that. You want them to be supported. Hey, why don't we get the state rep to run? Right. That would be a logical thing. Instead, you're like, F that guy. I don't want that guy anywhere near this or anywhere near any elected office. And federal and state money is not the same. These are not the same things. They can support. They can do all kinds of things for him, but it's not the same thing when you have the beast, when you have Danny Perez, right, who's supporting you to the tunes of $2 million like they did for moron Erica Booth, right? It's not the same thing. They're not going to be able to do that for this person. He might be able to go and raise a ton of money, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not the same thing.
No. And he just got elected. He just went through an election. So, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty
tough.
Doesn't look
there.
great.
Yeah. All right. So, finally, Jon, we have Jimmy Patronis said he's strongly considering running for this seat.
Yeah. So I have to say this. I really like Jimmy Patronis. Okay. I really do like Jimmy Patronis. There's also the same thing, cabinet here, state of Florida, the positioning. He's with these guys. He moved up through the House and whatever. He's super highly connected guy and whatever. Jimmy Patronis is like George W. Bush. Okay. Now I remember George W. Bush voting for him, and I would talk to my family and they would ask, what's one of the things you like about George W. Bush? And I would always say, I'd like to have a beer with him. He seems like a funny, fun guy to hang out with. He seems like a guy that you would have fun going out with,
Right.
All right. And obviously everybody knows that he was a big partier. So yeah, he was probably a lot of fun to go out with, but I had a liking to him. I also had a chance to interview as a young journalist. I got to interview Bill Clinton, and I left that meeting thinking, man, this is the best damn guy. He's so funny. He was funny. I felt like he liked me. It was like that's how he was, super charismatic. Jimmy Patronis, a handful of times that I've met him, that I've spoken with him, I had the same feeling. He remembers your name type of guy. He's a very personable guy. You can't help but like him. He's always smiling. Okay. He's always nice. This is, he's just a good Florida guy, and he's not combative. He's just a nice guy. He's like everything. I wish I had that kind of, I'm not, everybody likes me because I have a sword drawn all the time. Right. And Jimmy Patronis does not. He's a super nice guy. He's fun. He's funny. He's, I don't know. I mean, I know what people's concerns are about Jimmy Patronis. I'm just saying I happen to like him. So if he were to win, I can't hold it against him because I like him on a personal level too much. So,
Yeah.
But I think that he would do good at his job. I think that he would. He is a Trump guy now, right? Because when you have Trump DeSantis, it's one thing, but he's a MAGA guy. He's a hardcore right guy.
All right. So we did also talk about on a prior show. Aaron Dimmick, the DEI guy, the carpetbagger from Minnesota or Missouri, somewhere in there. He's talking about possibly running. And then we have a Democrat, female. Her name is Gay Valamont, who is supposed to be running for this.
Are you sure it's a female?
Yeah. At least that's what she says she is.
I mean, how do they know? How do Democrats know what a female is? I thought they abandoned that pre-concept.
That's a good question. But yes, Governor DeSantis has set the date for this election. It's going to be in April. Primary is set for January. And Governor Ron DeSantis announced yesterday that the special election for Matt Gaetz, former U.S. House, he will take place on April 1st.
This
April
is so
Fool's
dumb.
Day.
Why? This is so irritating to me. It may not be a big deal. Everybody's like, oh, who gives a crap? But for me, it's extremely irritating. It does a couple of things. Number one, it tells you, it makes, subconsciously at least, the election look like a joke. All right. It makes the election look like you can't depend on the election because the April Fool's Day. Why mix those days? Number two, what it does is the guy who wins is going to look like a fool because it's April Fool's Day. Oh, the Democrats already, that's going to be their line. Oh, here's the fool. April Fools, you got a Republican. I mean, why do it on April 2nd? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you can't. It's got to be a Tuesday, whatever. But you know what I mean? It's like, do it the next week. Do it the week prior. Why April 1st?
Yeah.
And if you think that doesn't matter, that's BS because 80% of the voters don't do anything but follow their superstitions. So why would you? Why would you do that? That's like a self-inflicted wound. I mean, I don't know. Or maybe number three, he's telling us the joke's on us, and they're going to pull one off, and they're going to pick who they want.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that is I don't know why. Why do that?
I don't know. I don't know. When I saw it, John, I was just like, what? Really?
That's my point, right? That's my point. And here's the thing: don't tell me that you didn't notice or anything, or it's not. I didn't. That's a non-consequential thing. BS. If I noticed, and you noticed, you think somebody who's DeSantis is 3 times smarter than I am. Yale law graduate. April 1st. I don't know if they ever even mentioned it to him, but at his appointment, he has to sign off. I imagine that he's going to even if you just glance through it, you see April 1st special election. Ooh, I don't like it. Choose the week after. I mean, come on. No, he noticed. It took me, the minute that we pulled that up in the pre-show meeting, we immediately, it was like, that was like it was the thing, right? Like we noticed, April, what? No. So come on, don't tell me that they didn't know. That to me is intentional.
Yeah.
Nothing is by accident.
It does seem that way, John. It does. All right, so a little closer to home, over in Winter Haven, the commissioners vote 3-2 to remove fluoride from the city's water supply. Here's the story.
The city of Winter Haven just became the first in the Tampa Bay area to decide to remove fluoride from its water.
Yeah, that decision comes as the Trump administration is widely expected to scrutinize fluoride and its risks versus benefits. 10 Tampa Bay's Eric Glasser has more on that decision and speaks with people on both sides of the debate.
Well, the city of Winter Haven has been adding fluoride to its water since 1986, but citing a recent court case and data suggesting the chemical may also do harm, city leaders have narrowly voted to remove it.
The city's fluoridation efforts.
Winter Haven Commissioner Brad Dantzler was the first to make the motion to remove fluoride from the city's drinking water. He cited, in part, the anti-fluoride stance taken by Robert F. Kennedy, likely to influence health policy in the Trump administration.
So this issue, we might be a little bit on front of it, but this issue is coming.
Debate over the idea centered on a September court ruling calling on the EPA to strengthen its regulation on fluoride, as well as a study suggesting fluoride could negatively impact children's brain development.
You can get fluoride so many ways, but to put it in drinking water, that's in your stomach.
I can get false teeth if needed, but I only have one brain.
Commissioners also heard from several local dentists who said that the study that people were citing is flawed. Data collected in foreign countries where fluoride levels are higher than the U.S., and questioned whether removing it from local water supplies would disproportionately harm those who can least afford dental care.
There are so many people that cannot access dental care.
Water fluoridation levels the playing fields for the haves and the have-nots.
Several people also urged city leaders to postpone any action on the issue to take time to delve deeper into the pros and cons.
All those in favor of the motion.
But commissioners decided instead to move forward, voting 3-2 to remove fluoride from the city's drinking water. The city council directed staff to try to end the process of adding fluoride to the water by the beginning of the new year, if not as soon as possible. Today, commissioners said they are not adverse to revisiting their decision based on either further court rulings or if new evidence is presented. In Winter Haven, Eric Glasser, 10 Tampa Bay.
And the city of Winter Haven.
Well, you know, John, it's funny. The people that came up, the dentists and stuff, that were saying this levels the playing field for people that can't get dental treatments. Whenever I go to the dentist, I don't drink and ingest the fluoride treatment. I swish it around my mouth and spit it out, right? So why would they think that it's okay to ingest it and drink it? That's where it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think that we're drinking more water than we ever drank before right now. Now we're drinking water like crazy. Everybody's very highly encouraged to drink lots of water, and people are drinking lots of water. So what was the case 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 40 years ago may not be the case today, number one. Let me also say this, because a lot of it's easily forgotten. Dr. Ladapo, who's the state surgeon, the Surgeon General for Florida, has been under like a lot of attack because they keep calling him this conspiracy theorist and this and that and whatever. And he was encouraging taking fluoride out of the water. And this guy is somebody, everybody needs to understand. This guy is not some crack job who got his medical degree from Grenada or from Cuba. Well, actually, they have great medicine in Cuba, but from some crazy little island somewhere, right? And then come up here to the United States and became a doctor. No, the guy went to Harvard Medical School, and he got his medical degree and a PhD. This guy is a genius of the first order. He's a super smart guy. We don't have a ton of respect for Harvard here, but at the same time, you know, you got to appreciate somebody who works through that process. He went to their schools. He went through their processes. This is not some lackey who, doesn't know what he's doing. This is a scientist and a doctor. And I trust his judgment because he said the truth about COVID. He was one of the few people who said the truth about COVID, right? And I trust him. So here's the bottom line with fluoride. Fluoride is a byproduct of the agricultural industry. At least that's what it was when we started using it, started putting it in water, because there were studies that showed that it may have helped people's dental health. But we're all brushing our teeth now like crazy. We're all taking care of each other. We're all polishing our teeth. We're all flossing. We're all doing these things now, right? Yeah. This is, so 50 years ago, people may not have had the best habits. Now they have much better habits, and people aren't smoking anymore, for example, right? So I don't think that. I mean, I haven't read the study, so I can't tell you that I think it's a great idea to take the fluoride out of the water. I trust the science of. I need to see the research. I need to see how it helps. I need to see it. And if fluoride is so healthy for our teeth, right? I mean, you can say that anything is healthy for you. Let's say that if mercury was healthy for you, would you start ingesting it all the time? No, because it kills your brain. So you got to make, I mean, I'd like to see the study that says, look, nobody has any more cavities anymore. We've been now putting fluoride in the water for decades. Yep. So are people still getting cavities?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to trust the dental association to tell me what they say, because their whole job is to promote more money for dentists. Yeah. So I want to see the study that says that since we put fluoride in the water, people have stopped having cavities. Okay, well, now I can consider that, right? And it's making me dumber by how many IQ points? I have an IQ right now of 155. If now I'm at 150, okay, that's worth having clean teeth, maybe, I don't know. But if I started at 155 and now I'm at 95, like Fred Hawkins, and then no, 95 is not a high enough IQ for me. So I think that that's a problem. There needs to be people who are fighting this. You can't come in a lab coat without telling me exactly what the impact has been on people's teeth.
Absolutely, and not to mention the fact they talk about lack of access to dental care. You can go to Dollar Tree and you can get a tube of toothpaste and a toothbrush for $2.
And it's fluoride. It has fluoride in it.
It has fluoride in it. So you're getting fluoride in your toothpaste. You're getting fluoride in your dental rinse. You're getting fluoride in your water. I just don't see the need for
how much fluoride do you need? We're going to find out that it has something, it makes you transgender or something. I mean, and they're like, oh, it's fluoride. That's what's in the water. That's making all these boys lose their manhood. I mean, it's I don't know. I can't trust the science anymore. And that's a big shame. I think that a lot of Americans you can't trust anymore. So if God didn't put it in the water, why are we putting it in the water? That's going to make us God. You're telling me that God didn't have the formula for water that makes us healthy? How about a balanced diet? Stop eating, look at the dyes that they're putting in the water. The same agency is saying put fluoride in the water is the same people that are telling you that like ingest Cheetos, right? Like the dye in Cheetos is okay for you. Forget it. I'd rather not have it. I'll take care of myself. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So take it out of the water. Everybody take it out of the water.
All right. So, John, a former St. Pete council member accused of hiding cameras in air vent to watch woman in bathroom. Check this out. St. Pete.
Former city council member put hidden cameras in an air vent in his home so he could watch a woman as she showered and used the restroom.
64-year-old Jeffrey Danner is now facing a digital voyeurism charge. 8 on your side investigator Brittany Muller joining us now with that story.
Keith, Stacey, good evening to you both. Investigators say former city councilman Jeffrey Danner admitted to installing hidden cameras inside his bathroom. According to the arrest affidavit, Danner apologized to the victim after he was confronted, but that didn't keep him from ending up behind bars. St. Petersburg police say a woman who was temporarily living with Jeffrey Danner found multiple cameras in the air vent at this home on Dartmouth Avenue North. One pointing directly toward the shower and the other toward the toilet. This arrest affidavit says the woman took photos of the cameras and reported it to the police. We contacted St. Pete police about Danner's arrest, but they say they are not commenting on this case because it is an active investigation. Danner served 8 years on St. Pete's City Council from 2006 to 2014. He ran for council again in 2021, but lost that race. The affidavit says the former councilman admitted to placing the cameras in the bathroom and told the victim that he realized how stupid and perverted it was. Danner was arrested and charged with digital voyeurism. We went to his home a day after he bonded out of jail, but no one answered. Danner bonded out.
They go to his house. He didn't answer. Just unbelievable, man. I was laughing because he even admitted. I realized how stupid and perverted this was.
I know how stupid. I know what a pervert I am. I'm sorry, I'm a big pervert. This is crazy. I mean, it's just come on. What is wrong with people? What? Come on. This is his house. I don't know.
Why he has a woman living with him temporarily, I don't know either. But
I mean, there's all kinds of questions that this story has, right? And then this guy ran. He lost. Thank God he lost his seat, right? But this is a pervert. This is a pervert. He admits that he's a pervert, right? He says, "I know how perverted it is. I know how wrong it is." First of all, this guy can't be a lawyer because he kills himself in this. He admits that he's a pervert, that he's wrong. He tells the cops that he admitted to the cops that he did it. Just from a legal perspective, I'm like, this guy is not all right. This guy is not all right. I'm glad that he admits it. I hope that he goes to confession and gets rid of those kind of terrible sins that he's guilty of. But I mean, what a nutcase. And these are the people that we elect. And
yeah. Just crazy, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, we see it all the time, right? People are listen. I'll end this segment, okay? Because this is an important lesson for all of you Americans who aren't perverts and who aren't disgusting, okay? Who don't mistreat people like this. You can run for office instead of the people that are there right now, because all the people who are in office, most of them are dirty perverts and disgusting people, right? A lot of the people who run for office are exactly that, extremely flawed. And the reason I say this is because a long time ago in 2012, okay, I got a piece of advice from a friend at that time, and advice that I've never forgotten, which was that he had interned up there in Tallahassee at the legislature. He interacted with all those people, and the one thing that he realized is that those people, there's nothing special about them. They're not stronger, they're not faster, they're not smarter. They are not extraordinary in any way, shape, or form. And that's absolutely the case. So we need to start getting good people with just a tremendous amount of integrity and moral authority, moral integrity, more than anything else, to go and run for office. I know it's tough. They're going to lie about you. They're going to attack you. They're going to cause you to lose money. They're going to do all of the shady things that you would expect someone without scruples to do. Yeah. That you got to persevere for the sake of the country, for the sake of God. You need to persevere so that this country can go to the right place. So please run, or you're going to have perverts like this, alleged perverts like this, self-admitted perverts like this, be the ones in charge. And we just don't want that. So please, if you're a good person, if you have a strong moral compass, and I'm not saying all of them, because there are a lot. Look at Bernie Jacques. That guy's a super good guy, right? Yeah. Look at Corey Mills. These are good people. There's a lot of good people. I'm not saying that they're flawless, that they have no flaws whatsoever. I'm just saying that these are generally good people, very good people. So, but it's not a population of majorly good people, I would say. Being a really good moral person is the exception in the legislature, not the rule. So run.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, John. So former Senator Frank Artiles gets jail.
And there we go. And there we go.
After guilty verdict in ghost candidate trial. Here's the story, John. And
Senator Frank Artiles learning his fate for financing a fake candidate to fool voters.
And Artiles will spend time behind bars for his scheme to defraud an election. Local 10's Glenna Milberg is live outside the courtroom in Miami with reaction tonight. Glenna.
And it could have been so much worse. Kelvin Nicole for this former state senator, an ex-Marine, a political operative. He was sentenced to 2 months in jail, a possible 15 years in jail. Also, he was sentenced to 5 years probation and a number of other things. And yet, at the time, the judge telling him his crime likely stole an election from voters.
Is there anything you wish to say at your sentencing?
No, sir.
The plea for leniency would come from his family.
The emotional toll on our daughters, who would lose their father during such a pivotal time in their lives.
Jail time, but a fraction of the possibility.
I think our tribal poison politics got the better of you, Mr. Artiles, and you lost sight of right and wrong.
A withhold. Frank Artiles will not be recorded as a convicted criminal. The judge moved, he said, by letters from dozens of people describing good things Artiles had done. Under scrutiny for the better part of the last 4 years as the tool for big, dark money donors to plan and pay off a shill to dupe voters, a ghost candidate with the same last name as this incumbent senator they wanted to lose, who did by just 32 votes.
They blanketed the district. I heard from Republican friends, I heard from hardcore Democrats.
The prosecutor reminded what Artiles' motives and actions cost.
The impact does matter. They stole an election. They did.
As Artiles headed for the exit, his attorneys blamed loose campaign finance laws and uninformed voters.
Does he feel like he's done something wrong, or he does not feel like he's done something wrong?
I'm not going to get into how he feels or doesn't feel.
So important to note that then and now, planting shill, fake, ghost candidates in Florida elections, that is perfectly legal. It's the financing of them that is not, and that is what Frank Artiles has been convicted and sentenced for. All of that on hold until December 18th, when everyone comes back here to discuss an appeal. I'm Glenna Milberg, live.
What a piece of shit. Forgive me. I'm sorry.
Hey, they say that on network TV now, John. So, I mean, yeah.
Here's the thing, but I try not to, on the show at least, I've been trying to curb my cursing like in my daily life, right? And I've done a pretty good job of it, I must say so. But listen, this is outrageous. This guy doesn't look like he thinks he did anything wrong. He just got caught. He feels abandoned by the establishment. But these guys, they're such bastards. Believe me, I know these people. They're bastards. They think that they can get away with anything. The world is their oyster, including you and you and you and you and you who may listen to the show. This is what's wrong with our country. This is why our country is where it is right now. This is why it needs to be made great again. Because of people like this. He's getting listen, it breaks my heart because I don't know how old his daughters are. I'm going to look it up, how old his daughters are while I'm saying this stuff, but the bottom line is I'm outraged by the fact that somebody thinks that they can do this and they're going to get away with it. And that's it. I mean, it's grotesque. It's grotesque. It's grotesque. It's grotesque. This guy is a former senator. It's just, he's a Marine. Okay. So he goes to the Marines. He serves his country, and he throws his honor away for this corruption. It pisses me off. It pisses me off. It's just, it's just incredible. And he's a lawyer, by the way. Yeah. So how do you get a law degree and do this? And then they're like, oh, it's perfectly fine to plant people and steal elections and whatever. It's just how you fund it. Well, these people are funding it in all kinds of different ways. They should all be in jail. All of these people with these PACs should be in jail because of how they're funding these races. And they all hide behind it, and they all shift money around. They launder their money over and over again so that you don't know who's making these donations. And the people who are making the donations don't know how their money is being spent because in their mind, they're giving money to good causes. Then that money gets spent. That should be a jailable offense, right? The fact that let's say I'm a dentist or an optometrist, right? And I give money to my association because my association is run by a dirtbag, right? Then that guy makes a contribution from the association, which has $1 million in it, to another organization that is going to fund a dirty candidate, like what happened in this situation. And those things happen. It's a damn shame. It's disgusting. These people, we need to be rid of these people. And then he's not going down with a record? The judge let him off because he got a bunch of letters? He's a former state senator. You don't think he's going to be able to derive a whole bunch of letters? Of course he's going to get him on. Oh, Frank Artiles helped me get a stoplight fixed over here. Oh, Frank Artiles helped me fill this pothole up, with so-and-so. Oh, Frank Artiles, blah, blah, blah. Are you kidding? So if you're just some poor thug on the street and you're doing something wrong, you get caught, you're getting away, you're going to keep that prison record. You're going to get that jail record.
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, Jon fell off again. I don't know what happened, but he fell out.
I think it's outrageous.
All right, there he is. There he is. He came back. He disappeared for a minute, Jon.
I'm back, right?
Yeah, you're back now.
So I disappeared there for a second. I saw my screen go big. But listen, it's terrible that the man on the street has to keep his record and pay for his mistakes. You know, as a hearing officer for expulsion hearings at the school district, I would always tell people, listen, when I was a kid, I had to pay full price for all my mistakes. I wasn't a silver spoon child, and wasn't smart enough to try to do some of the things that people get away with. So I just ate everything, every consequence for my actions. I would just eat and pay full price and pay full price and pay full price. And you know what? This guy doesn't have to pay full price, and that's BS.
Yeah.
He should. So the common man on the street has to pay full price for his mistakes. This guy gets away with it because he's a former senator. That's bullcrap. It's the same with Mike Horner and that dirty pervert who supported the illegal sex trade, getting away with the battery charge that he had. Why? Because he used his connections.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that guy, everybody else would have been arrested right away, but he didn't get arrested. Then they go arrest him at night, but then he escapes the charges. Come on. It's all BS. We're letting these people, the American people need to get on board with making sure that they get involved and that they don't let people get away with these things.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Urgent matter.
You know, we saw the same thing happen here in Osceola County with a ghost candidate in the last cycle.
And he went to jail.
Yeah.
But he didn't go to jail. He didn't go to jail for being a ghost candidate because they couldn't get him on that. They got him in jail for falsifying the records.
All right, Jon. Well, let's move on closer to home to Osceola County.
Come on, guys.
All right, Jon. So the War of the Elephants. We predicted this. Actually, you predicted this. You said that this would return again. This would return after the elections. That everything kind of mellowed out for a little while, but now it's back again. And at first, I thought we were just being targeted here in Osceola County, but I'm hearing that it is in other places that they are getting this same email from these two guys right here. That's RPOF Chairman Evan Power and Executive Director Bill Helmick, and they are sending out this email right here. It says, this letter is to notify you that a grievance has been filed against you in accordance with RPOF Rule 22 and based on your position within the Republican Party of Florida County Republican Executive Committee. The grievance alleges that you are currently in violation of RPOF Rule 1.A2, which states, no member of the State Executive Committee or a County Executive Committee may be a member or officer of any organization that has been deemed by the RPOF Chairman to be in violation of the restrictions on the use of the name, abbreviations, and symbols of the Republican Party as provided for in this rule or section. Specifically, it has been alleged that you are in violation of this rule. Since early 2024, the Florida Republican Assembly and its affiliated local chapters have been deemed by the Republican Party of Florida Chairman to be in violation of RPOF Rule 1.A1. for use of the name of the Republican Party in connection with their organization without approval and permission being granted by the Republican Party of Florida in the form of a written charter under RPOF Rule 1. Unfortunately, numerous attempts by RPOF leadership to have the FRA and its county chapters come into compliance with RPOF rules have been unsuccessful. And you have the ability to provide a response to this grievance for the grievance committee's consideration. If you choose to do so, please send your response by email no later than November 29th. If you have recently resigned your membership officer position from the FRA and or its related local affiliate, please provide a copy of the resignation along with your response in lieu of a formal response. You may also complete and return by email the linked affidavit in substantial form for the grievance committee's consideration no later than November 29th. There's a link to that affidavit, whatever it is, and it's sincerely from Mr. Bill Helmick, the executive director of the Republican Party of Florida. And that is him with the glasses on the right. What is your take on this, Jon? What's going on here?
Oh my God. I think that these guys are unwise, to say the least. This is not them. I think this is not them, as I was saying earlier, as I was hinting earlier. I don't think that this is the chairman or the executive director that are coming up with this idea. They're being told to execute this, and they're executing it poorly. What I said was what you were saying, which is right. I said that the FRA needed to fight this pre-election, right? The FRA should have been fighting in the election because it would have been a distraction for the election. The RPOF would have been under pressure to resolve the problem before the election, when they need the FRA to make sure that we win, because we didn't want to have a bad showing, right? Yeah. Well, now the election is over. So I'm not saying that the cause is lost or anything like that. The election is over. The RPOF has zero respect for its constituents, especially the ones that are Trump supporters. And so now they're attacking all their own supporters. And let me say this very importantly. If you remember anything, remember this. RPOF does not care at all about losing members. They don't care about the RECs, about the Republican Party shrinking at all, because they have the registered advantages, right? So the RPOF, the Republican Party of Florida, does not care about losing any REC members. If the RECs in each one of the 67 counties of Florida is only 5 people, they're perfectly happy with that, because then they can get consolidation over all of their decision making. Right? They had every county. Oh, we endorsed so-and-so unanimously across the state, because they only have 5 members and nobody gives a damn about the RECs anymore. Right. So they don't care about losing membership. If you're resting on the fact, oh, I'm going to leave, they want you to leave. Okay? So that is not the goal. The goal is to fight. That's what they don't want. Fight, and fight loudly. Every REC needs to call their news media outlet and tell them that they're trying to kick Republicans out of the party who are supporting Trump because they're part of the swamp. That's what you need to do, is make a statement. Now, in response to these emails, okay, this is not legal advice. This is my personal opinion. In response to these emails requesting that you explain yourself and your membership of the FRA or any organization, okay, what you need to do is just ask for the evidence. Ask for what evidence they have that you're a member of any other organization or whatever. If they don't have evidence and they're going to kick you out without evidence, then that's the record that they're establishing, and it says what a bunch of jerks they are, okay? Because I don't know that they have any evidence. I got the same email. A whole bunch of people here in Osceola County got the email. People across the entire state are getting this email. They want you out if you don't agree. And this is why they want people out. The FRA went through a process where they're endorsing candidates. They endorse in the primary, right? And it helps people win. They also are becoming very powerful within the RECs. They don't want that. What they want is total control. They want to make sure that no organization like the FRA goes against candidates as stupid as Erica Booth. Okay, that's what they want. So when they have a stupid scarecrow of a candidate like Erica Booth running for House, they don't want you to go against her. Okay, so when they have some moron, an absolute void of any thought whatsoever, like Ricky Booth, run for statewide election, they don't want the FRAs talking amongst each other and deciding that they don't want them. Okay. So they want to have total control over the process so that they can continue their swampiness. Fight, fight, fight. Now's the time to fight. Anyone that has contacts with Donald Trump needs to go and use those contacts right now. If you have a contact with your state rep, you need to go put pressure on them right now. Every FRA chapter should be putting pressure on those local state legislatures to fight against, end it right now. And they can. You have enough pressure. There's thousands of people in the FRA. Some FRAs are stronger than the other groups. But if they're not willing to fight right now, and I'm talking about fight politically, then you might be gone forever. This might be gone. The entire movement, the MAGA movement, it's going to be absorbed into the party. They're going to split off. People are going to hate. The REC is going to become very small. It's going to be a disaster for only RPOF could mess up the opportunity that we've been given through the last elections. No. Right? This is such a moronic, stupid move. It's such an attack on Republican ideals, on American ideals. It's so disgusting that these people are ruining their careers without even knowing about it. Now, they feel that they're They are untouchable. I'm this. Somebody's always going to protect me. I'm always going to be this. I'm always going to be with it. Listen, just remember, okay, how poorly people reacted to Donald Trump in 2016 coming down that escalator. Everybody thought he was a clown candidate. Okay. Now, several years later, he's in control of the entire Republican Party and in control of our nation with the popular vote and the Electoral College. Okay? It's a tremendous, when they say it's the world's greatest comeback, they have no idea. Like some people talk about other ones. Look how far Donald Trump has come from the escalator to the movement within America today. And if you think that the Republican Party of Florida is not going to get swept in that, you're wrong. You're wrong. The Republican Party will kill itself right now. It's going to go through major transition as long as the men in the party and the women of the party stand up and do what they need to do to make sure that we change the leadership so that none of this crap ever happens again, so that the party can be one of morals. And they hate that. They hate the mixing of morals, right? Because they like to be a bunch of dirtbags. Okay, everybody who's got a vice loves to hold on to their vice. So the men and women of Florida need to stand up and fight against this. It doesn't matter if you're a member of the FRA or not. This is wrong. And anybody who plays along needs to be cast out from the party. Anybody who plays along with this attack on Americans for being a conservative needs to be cast away from the party as far as possible, to never be allowed to return to the party in any official capacity whatsoever. Okay? So that's my thoughts on it. I think it's wrong. I think that it's morally wrong. It's probably legally wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but I think it's also legally wrong. It's wrong in the sense that it goes against all of our beliefs as Republicans. It goes against the MAGA movement. I mean, it's just wrong. And the governor, this will be DeSantis's biggest failure. If this is allowed to happen, if this does not come back and blow up in the faces of RPOF leadership and end up with new leadership, then this will be DeSantis's biggest failure, and those people will never vote for him again. The people who are now starting to forgive DeSantis for going against Trump, right, who are in that boat, and which is a significant number, will never forgive him for this. They'll never forgive him for. They don't care what anything that says DeSantis will be a disgrace to them. This is because he's the leader of the party. He's at the very top. And if he doesn't show that he's better than this is when leadership matters. And DeSantis, who has been an excellent governor, will have done so much work and so much good for nothing, to always be remembered for the guy that couldn't get out of Trump's shadow. And so he had to stab all the Trump supporters in the back, or allow them, witness them being killed off, like the Knights Templar, and not do anything about it. So this is going to damage a lot more people than just the people getting kicked out of the REC.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, and this is something that I've said before, John, Republican Liberty Caucus, Republican National Hispanic Assembly, you guys are next. You guys are next, because if they're telling the Florida Republican Assembly that we can't use the word Republican and we can't use the elephant symbol, that means you can't either. And believe me,
they are absolutely next.
They'll start cracking down on you too. Believe that. So I'm hopeful. I have a feeling it ties into these executive committee elections that are coming up.
That's exactly why, and this is why by the end of November, they send it out and they give you a week to respond, right? Less than a week to respond. So this is all because the elections are coming up in December, and they want to kick all these people out so that they can't vote. Right? Well, that's not going to be good enough. When you have a swamp, pieces of crap leadership, well, I mean, people are going to want to get rid of them. So they're trying to put the lid on all this pressure. But I don't think it's going to key. It's going to be coming out from all. It's going to be coming out. It's going to blow the top off. And I think that's what's going to happen here in Osceola County. It's going to happen in other counties where you have more, a higher percentage. Here we have nothing but swamp. It's like the leadership of the GOP in our county they're all sold out swamp, I mean, so, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Well, last week we talked about the St. Cloud mayor getting sworn in, John. This week, the Kissimmee mayor got sworn in, Jackie Espinosa, the new mayor of Kissimmee, and she's laying out a plan to rebuild trust in the police department. Here's a story.
Under new leadership, a brand new mayor was sworn in today.
Fox 35's Kelsey Cairns joins us live from Kissimmee tonight. So, Kelsey, you spoke with Mayor Jackie Espinoza. What's the first thing she plans to accomplish?
Yes, from when I had my one-on-one interview with Jackie Espinoza just really minutes before that swearing-in ceremony this evening, she explained to me she is all about rebuilding trust within the city of Kissimmee Police Department.
Just to kind of
Mayor Jackie Espinoza, now in charge of bringing change to Kissimmee.
we want to make sure that the community feels safe and feels that we're taking care of business from day one.
She's making it her mission to address the issues within the police department.
We've got amazing officers and leadership, and we can't cover everyone under the same blanket.
She wants to see the Citizens Review Board for Police reinstated. It started back in 2021, but disbanded in June after Governor Ron DeSantis signed 2 bills into law. One that prevents civilian review boards from investigating law enforcement, and the other that criminalizes harassment of officers and first responders.
I think the governor was trying to act prudently on his behalf for our specific situation. I think our interim chief of police is very experienced. He'll have the oversight on that, as well as our city manager, and I think we'll bring in people to that board that are experienced and that understand the due process of law.
The review board's goal would be to advise the police department and review policies and procedures, but would not investigate complaints of misconduct. Kissimmee's interim police chief, Major Robert Anzueto, also weighing in on the measure.
I think we can use that as transparency for our agency and the community that we serve.
Our community is diverse. It's changed. And I understand the old, the new, the north, the south, and I'm kind of that bridge that can connect everyone.
And Mayor Espinoza also told me earlier this evening that she is a 33-year resident here in Kissimmee. She's raised her family here and her granddaughters. And like she just mentioned there, she really just wants to keep the community connected. Live in Osceola.
All right, John. So, starting off with this problem at the Kissimmee Police Department. Not a great thing to have to deal with to start off her new position as the mayor of Kissimmee, John.
No, because she was such a big, strong supporter of that police chief that had to resign in disgrace. This is the problem with being. This is the problem, and I'm going to say this. I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't offend anyone. Not that I care about offending anyone, but I'm trying to say this in a way that is just honest and common sense, wise, correct. This is why you don't pay attention to anybody's sex, race, or any other stupidity bias of your own, right? No. This is why, as a woman, it's really dumb for you to be like, oh, women, we need to put a woman in. Or if you're a man, like, oh, I can't, this is not a woman's job, this is a man's job. Or if you're black, it's got to be a black guy. Or if you're Hispanic, it's got to be somebody that eats rice and beans, whatever. No, that's all stupidity. And that's why you shouldn't entertain that out. Don't let it come into your mind. It is a virus. It is a virus. When you're a leader, that's something that you throw away, and all you do is look at performance, right? And record. And never in a serious role like police chief, fire chief, anything that's important, you don't play those stupid games, right? And so I hope that they never do that again. I hope that they learn. I hope that no one in elected leadership should ever support anyone based on their skills. There's nothing stupider, in my opinion, than when somebody says, oh, I'm the first Venezuelan, or I'm the first Puerto Rican, or I'm the first this, I'm the first. Okay, that's fine. But are you a dirtbag, or are you good at your job? That's what I care about, right? Yeah. If my house is on fire, I don't care what you look like. Put the damn thing out, right? If you're fighting for my country, do I care what color you are, or what's, your background, or how much money you made, or, whether you're silver spoon or you're poor, black or white or Indian or whatever? No, I don't give a damn. Fight hard for your country. That's all, right? And so that's, that elected leaders, that's all they should focus on. And I do have a lot of confidence in Jackie that she's going to do the right thing. She is a middle of the road type of person. Has very strong personal opinions, but at the same time, she understands that she's trying to walk the line for everyone. Yeah. And that's important in Kissimmee, which has gone so kind of silly sometimes. But I think that her, Mike Steyerwald, I think that that's a good start. I think that they have a good place. When I look at a place like St. Cloud, okay, St. Cloud is such a joke. The city, and I mean the city I love, but the city council is such a joke. And, you know, the only way that you win is if you win anything there is if you share DNA or if you swap DNA. You know, that's the only way that you win in St. Cloud with the St. Cloud City Council. And I just don't have a lot of respect for that. So I'm looking for big things from Jackie as a mayor. She's gonna, hopefully she leaves this place. She gets rid of all the stupidity that you know, maybe less thinking people bring about because they're silly and easy to manipulate, and they're so political. They're just worried about the politics. They're not worried about the community. So big hopes for her.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see what comes, you know, for Kissimmee. Here comes a part of the show where we say we told you so, John. Osceola subdivision clears the planning commission after developer drops townhomes, and we're talking about the Story Road project.
That's a lot of we told you so's in this show already.
Yeah, absolutely. Orlando developer Cal Hussein will bring his proposed Story Estate subdivision project back to the Osceola Board of County Commissioners, hoping for a better outcome after redesigning the project south of Hickory Tree Road. The 62-acre neighborhood would rise on a former citrus grove between Story Road and Tucker Avenue, not far from the Triple H Ranch South property Hussein entitled for nearly 800 homes and sold to Highland Homes in 2021. The site abuts one of the county's mixed-use districts, but it has a low-density residential zoning. Hussein initially sought approval for a 346-home subdivision with 232 detached single-family and bungalow lots and 114 townhomes, but commissioners voted to deny the application after a public hearing where nearby residents opposed the project. At that point, Starlight Homes was under contract for the project, but they have since backed out. This is going back before the county commission. It was supposed to go before the county commission this past Monday, John, at the 5:30 p.m. meeting. But Commissioners Brandon Arrington and Commissioners Ricky Booth were not there. The commission decided to postpone the vote on this to the December 2nd or December 9th meeting, which will be at 1:30 p.m. Change in time to a time where many residents probably will not be able to attend this meeting. And I think we called it, you called it, John. You said that this was a theater vote because it was before the election. Brandon Arrington, Peggy Chowdhury, and Ricky Booth were up for re-election. All three of them voted no on this development the first time around, but we're predicting a different outcome this time around, John. Just like you said, Ricky Booth probably will be the only no vote this time around. Maybe he'll vote yes, who knows. But yes, it was exactly what you said it was. It was theater. It's going to come back, and this time it's going to go through. I know the residents have posted online that they're going to have a meeting before this commission meeting so they can plan to fight against this, but I don't think there's any fighting against this. What do you think, John?
No, it's going to happen. Here's the thing. If you were one of those people that were singing Ricky Booth's praises because he voted because of what happened last time, don't feel bad. You're not the only people that he fooled. He also fooled his parents into thinking that he was a boy. Yeah. Okay? Ricky Booth is a joke. All he cares about is one thing, and that's Ricky Booth. So if you think that you're going to be able to prevent this from happening, all he's doing is waiting you out. The county commission is waiting you out. They have big plans and big ideas that they want for themselves. That has nothing to do with you. You have to fight. Hey, listen, he's there for another 4 years, right? I mean, I don't know, because this whole Recall Florida thing might be gaining steam. But if you don't get involved at the level where you're putting pressure on your politicians and you're trying to be friends and walk a line, it's the politician's job to walk a line. As a citizen, it's your job to fight, right? It's your job to pressure your politicians into doing what's right. It's your job to hold them accountable. So that's not your role to walk a line and to play nice and hold hands. And if you do that, then you're just surrendering. That's all you're doing. So just listen, do the right thing, speak out, fight, put the political pressure, and go that route. That's the only way it's going to happen. You can't be, and this is why, right? This is why the GOP has to be so underhanded in all the things and their elections and all that stuff, because they want people like this, right? And those people are answering not to Republicans, not to citizens, but to development companies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to lobbying groups, to lobbyists who have these wishes and ideals that they want for themselves, for their kids. I guarantee you they're not drinking fluoridated water. What they're doing is drinking, water filtered by reverse osmosis. Okay? And why is that? On your back. Because they're getting what they want. The things that you live with are not the things that these lobbyists are living with. They have a whole different lives where they're super happy and healthy and living a lifestyle that you wish, but they're using your politician that you voted for to achieve that for themselves. Yeah. So as a citizen, you need to wake up and stop letting these guys trick you. Get involved. Get involved. Stop being tricked. Stop playing games. Stop shaking the hands. There was one REC meeting here in Osceola County. The booths came and they were booed out of the building. That was the first time they ever felt pressure by the community. And then after that, they got bought out. The REC got sold out by its chairman, by Mark Cross. And then now he's a hero. Now they treat Ricky Booth like he's a hero after they sold out. Well, congratulations. Yeah. Now you're all living under this regime. And if that's what you want, then more power to you, because that's what you're going to get. So until you can stand up for yourself, all these people, the funny thing is a lot of these people are like, oh, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to fight with Trump, fight. But you don't fight on the local level. What is wrong with you? Yeah. If you can't fight on the local level, if anything were to ever happen in this country, you're not going to be fight. That's one thing I learned, in the Army, is that if you can't do it when you're practicing, when you're training, you're not going to be able to, chances are you're not going to be able to do it. These people that think that they're going to rise to the occasion by sitting down and kissing ass to these politicians while they're here local, while they're in front of you, you kiss their ass when they're local, and then you talk, a bunch of like you're powerful when they're not in front of you. It's time for those games is over. If we're going to take our country back, then we need to take our country back. And if you don't want to take your country back, then sit down and shut up. Yeah. One or the other.
And, we're not telling people not to go and fight the county commission. Absolutely go there and speak out, fight. But the thing is that we've been telling you for a very long time that these people are not for you. They're not going to fight for you. They're not going to do, or they're going to have these theater votes where they're going to play like they're for you, but they're not really for you. They're for the agenda that they have in place. That's why you keep seeing the same faces. They don't go away. You have the Arringtons, Mama Arrington, and Brandon there for 20 years, making decisions for Osceola County. A failed actor, a
guy who's never had a real job. Yeah. A guy who's never had a real job is leading the vision for Osceola County, giving himself the title of mayor himself. Yeah. Come on, wake up. Yeah. Wake up. And you guys
got to vote these people out. You got to vote them out. You can't keep electing them. Because you keep electing them, and they'll tell you the same story. They'll be, I tried.
And then you allow yourself to get tricked and deceived and fooled, and then you don't like to admit it. Come on, wake up. Yeah. Wake up. What do you need to wake up? Take the red pill already.
The time was here to change Osceola County, and yes, we did get President Trump through, but that's a good thing. We didn't get anything else.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we have left? Is that the last one?
No, we have one more.
One more. Let's do. I want to. Let me take a quick. The whole thing with President Trump, right? And I just saw Mark Cross on CNN. Okay. It did it. Yeah. Really? Exactly. Talking about how he did it, and then the GOP sent out this. Oh, thank you, Mark Cross. Mark Cross didn't do crap. Mark Cross, the GOP didn't do crap. In fact, they lost all the local elections. Yeah. Okay. What happened was Trump. Trump is the only reason why we won in Osceola County. It had nothing to do with the local REC. They didn't do crap. All they did was split the local party. They fought. They played with the swamp. They didn't do anything. In fact, we would have won bigger if we did not have an REC at all. So we lost because of the REC, and we won in spite of the REC on the federal elections.
We could do a whole show on the missteps that the REC did this election cycle.
And we
could
need
do a whole show on that.
We need
there were
to do
so many missteps that they made this election cycle. So many mistakes.
We need to do that.
So many things that they could have done better. So many things they could have done and didn't do. We could do a whole show on that. A whole show.
We need to do that. We need to do an election wrap-up show of the REC and expose them for all the things that they did so that the people know. The people know. That's what I think. You know what, Tom, we'll have to talk offline about that and do that. We're going to go through step by step on the elections and show you exactly how the party screwed the Republicans out of Osceola County change here. Yeah. How they helped keep you under the thumb. Yeah, we're going to do that, Tom. Absolutely. All right, let's hit that last one.
All right, so
I know you got to get out of here.
Yes, St. Cloud receives one bid for their downtown property. And what property are we talking about? We're talking about the downtown garage, the parking garage that St. Cloud wants. It's supposed to be a mixed-use garage where they're going to have retail and residential in this parking garage. 2 acres worth of parking garage, 2 city blocks. Orlando-based Capstack Commercial Development submitted the sole bid. They only got one bid for this thing. Procurement analyst William Arce told Growth Spotter he's still reviewing the Capstack bid to verify it meets all the requirements set forth in the RFP. If so, he will forward it to the selection committee members for evaluation. Arce said he's also reaching out to some of the more than 40 vendors that downloaded the RFP to seek feedback on why they elected not to bid on this project. I have some ideas why they didn't want to bid on this project. I think the city wants too much control over the project, and the developers don't want that. They don't want the city butting in, telling them, this is what we want, this is how we want it. They want to have complete control over this, and I don't see that they think it's going to be a real moneymaker, seeing how some of these downtown businesses have suffered and the lack of interest that the residents of St. Cloud have in going to the downtown district. It's going to be a tough sell to a developer, even though, the sell is, hey, we're going to have the parking now for these residents to come down here, because that's one of the number one issues of why people don't go to downtown St. Cloud, because there is no parking down there. So tough sell. I think that, if they go with Capstack, that's great. But we do need parking in downtown St. Cloud. What are your thoughts, John?
So this is an incredible development that they actually expect for people to want to be involved. They're going through the same trouble that Osceola goes through with Neo City. Nobody wants to be involved, right? Nobody wants to be involved. Number one, as you mentioned in the pre-show, they don't want to cede control, right? And number two, they don't want to cede control because these are all talented people who are successful at development. The people who are in downtown, the people who are on the city council, the people who are on the Osceola County Commission, they don't know what the hell they're doing. So you're going to put in your money and your capital and your time and your investment and effort, and then you're going to cede control to a bunch of failed actors and morons? No, of course not. Who's going to do that? I'm going to put in millions of dollars in my hands so that I can get a result like Don Fisher has gotten with Neo City? Hell no. So they don't want to. That's why, if they remove themselves, they say, listen, we want to see your ideas on this development here. We need parking. Let's see what your ideas are. You're going to see a bunch of people come in with great ideas as long as they're not involved. Let us do our job. We're the ones that make money. You're the one that takes money. So nobody wants to be in business. It's like being in business with the mob. Who wants to be in business with the mob? You never get out of it, right? You're always getting shaken down for it. So nobody wants that. Everybody just wants to, give me the opportunity. You have the opportunity, I'll return on the investment. I'll return on the opportunity. The problem is they try to control everything. They're probably trying to control who the GC is. They're probably trying to control where the money goes, what vendors are used, and that's just a disaster. Nobody wants to be involved with that. So, but listen, update quick. I just got a text from a GOP official. saying that I'm trying to spew hate with my Facebook post talking about what's going on, it's 100% true. What I'm saying is 100% true. And what the GOP leadership is telling you are a bunch of lies. You have to check for yourself, verify for yourself, okay? Because I don't have any hate of the party. What I have hate for is corruption. And since the last party vote that we had in Osceola County, it's been nothing but corruption. They've sacked our elections. They've kicked people out of the party. They shrunk the party size. They've done nothing. They've taken resources away from candidates that might have won and given them the candidates that had no chance of winning. This has been an absolute disaster of a local scene. And it's because of the leadership of the GOP locally here in Osceola County. And I imagine that's happening across the state because I get calls from them. I get a whole bunch of complaints about the issue that's going on with Puerto Rico and Florida too. And I get a whole bunch of people that want to talk about the fact that they have Puerto Rican people who are a member of the supposed Republican Party in Puerto Rico that comes here and campaigns for Democrats. Okay. And we allow them. Then we provide them with support to do that. I mean, listen, there's a lot more complication here. But listen, the end of the time for these people is soon. It's soon. It's not going to last like this forever. It is what it is. This is why they don't like it when I'm talking about these things. But I need to move on from just talking about it. And you guys need to move on to doing something about it. Okay. I've already sacrificed a lot in this fight. And everyday citizens, if you care about this country and if you want Osceola County to resemble what the rest of the country under Trump is looking like, then you need to make moves. If you live in Florida and you live in a swampy town, then you need to make moves. Yeah. You know, it's time to stand up and do the right thing and get rid of these rhinos.
Absolutely. All right, John. Well, that's the show.
All right. Thank you so much. An hour and a half, a little hour and 40 minutes. Thank you. God bless you. Listen, we're praying for all of you. We hope that all of you take advantage of this time with this new federal leadership to do the right things. Don't ever give up. Okay. I know I'm sounding like we're in the middle of a whole bunch of bad stuff, and we are, but that doesn't mean give up. That means fight. We're very close. Just because you lose a race doesn't mean that you're losing the war. Okay. And there's a war going on. It's a spiritual war. It's a war for our national identity. And we need to win both of those things. So make sure that you fight, you get involved, you support the people that are there, you speak out, you speak on these issues. Don't be afraid. I'm never afraid to wear my MAGA hat. I wear it all the time. And wherever I go, I'm always wearing, if not this one, I wear one of the other ones. Do the things that you need to do. Participate in making your country and your community better. And that starts with leadership. It always does. So make sure you're forcing that change where it needs to be. Thank you. God bless you. Like and share the show. Follow us. Oh, okay. So all our podcasts have now converting from audio to video. So that's happening. So now if you're listening on the podcast and it supports that, then you should also be able to see us on video. All these podcast things should be updated now. We are having some issues with that, but you should have a whole bunch of our episodes there. So please like and share the show with people who you think are like-minded. Make sure that you get involved with these organizations, that you make sure that you're pushing the envelope here, trying to make our country better. Don't let the swamp rest. Thanks. God bless you. Like and share the show. We love you. We'll see you next week.